Okay, started the recording again. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us. We are just getting started with the product camp, and happy IoT Day. Our first session is from Roxy Stimpson, and you see Roxy on the screen here, and she has been instrumental in getting this and getting me organized and keeping me sane and making sure that we go into a detailed amount of depth in everything that we cover, and in designing the content of this whole IoT Day camp altogether. So thank you, Roxy. Roxy Stimpson, I actually met Roxy many years back when we were fellow speakers at an IoT conference. She is the CTO and VP at IoT World Labs. And when you say CTO, a person is typically visionary, has enough technical depth. He's looking at new innovations and working with clients to understand their business needs and making this map. But what is amazing about Roxy is she is somebody who has, I think it's like many magical skills. She runs Toastmaster at some level where there are like 4,000 people in her organization, and she's very big on making sure engineers can communicate, and that is one of her side passion. I'm not going to about it. But coming back to IoT, her topic is going to be IoT enterprise architecture. And the key thing with IoT is you have the edge, you have the device, you have the cloud, and there is going to be integration points into everywhere else. So my understanding of the topic is she's going to talk about the integration points. So take it away, Roxy. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Sudha, for having me with you. I think we have echoing here.
We're not getting any echo. We are good.
Okay. So my name is Roxy Stimpson, of course, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer at IoT World Labs. This session is not, you can't teach somebody in 15 minutes what to do. What I hope coming out of this session is you are inspired and go and do something, or start an initiative, or actually decide that you can roll out something, solidly roll out an IoT initiative using the knowledge that I give you a spark from today. My background to help where I'm coming from will actually explain why am I thinking the way I am thinking right now. I started out as a consultant, actually 6 months before I got out of school. I said, I want to do contract work so that I can have the opportunity to try and solve multiple problems from different industry since the start. And that was 22 years ago. So to me, money is one thing, but the knowledge is something you cannot buy. So by working with multiple enterprises, I was able to see enterprise architecture for multiple industry by serving multiple set of customers. Bring that back to IoT. IoT, if you in the industry long enough, you're gonna know that you have RFID long ago, and you have passive, active RFID, but now it's a lot more, because what makes IoT special is you not only collecting data, but you actually can make a decision and do something about it, and initiate, practically actuate back to the device or sensors once you see the data and analyze, and it reach the business, not just the technical person, right? So when I started with this company 4 years ago, we started out with IoT, pure IoT products. We start working with a customer, we collect data from the edge, we build their edge devices, and we build the edge software, and we push data to the gateway at the cloud edge. Then we process the data, cleanse the data, and process data. And then you analyze and you apply algorithm, and then you push it to the visualization where the business can decide what to do and push the message back to the sensor, right? that is kind of like a fast 30 seconds of how data actually flow. The thing about the IoT data is industry specific, business specific, right? So if you build a SaaS platform, which is software as a service, then you will think differently. But if you work for an enterprise that you're going to consume the product, you want to think of it as it's just one of the slide of the business you have to deal with, one of the data source you have to deal with. This is why my company actually pivot to become data for digital transformation, because we listen to the customer and we say, okay, so many IoT data sources are staying silo. Just like all the businesses that we have to work with before are the enterprises. You have so many vendors, you have so many messages type, so many schema. So you then, as an enterprise, who are going to deal with all those different signature, right? As a technologist, the more you know about your business and the more you know about what problem you need to solve, you can go back to the source to get the data and define the data and refine it so it's matched with your business need better than if you would just say, here's a new vendor, he has something really cool, and that device is created and they have 100 or something parameters on that data set. And the other person has a temperature, device sensors, and they want to send information to a different group in your company. So those are, you see, is from the very simple message that you have to, message schema that you're going to send from the device to the cloud. And the other one, it could be a scatter machine with hundreds and 200s parameters message that you're going to submit to the cloud. So what is the right data structure for your IoT system? As the business owner and as an IT person in a company, they depend on what lens you're looking at it, right? Are you working with the consumer space, or are you working with IoT, industrial IoT data, or you are part of supply chain? My strength is in supply chain, warehouse integration, EDI integration. So it's just one of the kind of data you push from the device to the core system. Once the data go through those slides in your architecture view, which I'm going to show you the slide. The first slide that you're looking at is the sensors, right? And that is a very simple data set that many people can do. The second part is the data gonna get to the gateway and the cloud. The hard part comes when you go past those gates. Is the data from the sensor that was sent to you matter to your business at all? Or it's just somebody initiative and they want to do something cool? The data really matter only if you can apply your core business data set, supplemental data, to help you correlate and predict and decide what good will this data set for that I can use for my business and help our business moving faster and can be more competitive. So as the enterprise architect, people said, enterprise architects is dead. I always in the enterprise architects space, just because you look at the bigger picture. If you work for a larger company, you don't just solve one little edge device here, and you think that can make an enterprise like Nike, or I work with one other project at Nike back then, and Super Value or something like that. Those large grocery store. There's so many data points that you need to work with to get your data from the sensors to the cloud. Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is data from IoT is another data sources, just one other set of data source with its unique data schema. It's just that it's come to you in big wave, in stream. So how you deal with it is matter, right? You want to deal with it using time series data, of course, right? Because it's time driven. But if you don't build the time series data correctly, you will explode your indexing system to just a store name value pair. Do you really just do name value pair? Some company don't even care because the vendor will not be able to give you what data you want in the right endpoint you want. Some people give us a very old make us set up a data port, and we consume the data with pipe delivered. You need to do business, then you need to translate those data, right? So ideally, data from many sensors are streaming to you so that you can have PubSub model. So you consume it when you subscribe to it, you consume it when you want to, and then you process it. And then time series data is good when you actually do, you want to do live streaming analytics and things like that. But at the end of the day, to do business, you need those data also populated, those things that you want to clean up and populate that so you can correlate with the ERP system and other integrated system in the back end to leverage it and then display to the business team so that they can do something and push back to the sensor. I hope that give you a big picture of what the IoT data architecture is. It is just like others, except it's bigger, faster, and if you don't handle it right, it probably just another toy for technologists to play with. But I'm sure many companies have wonderful, smart technologists that will understand IoT data is a connected data. It has great potential. Depend on the needs, why the business need the data that you want to give them. Will it improve their daily activity? Will it bring profit to the company, bring better customer experience to the customer? Ask the question before you start working in a new toy. Solve the real business problem. Then you know what kind of data you're gonna need. Of course, there are other data that you will able to see and explore. It's that not many of them are needed to be pushed to all the way to the back end. That's why you start seeing more intelligent edge and gateway edge with more intelligence, so that you don't get so many junk data pushed from the device to the cloud, right? So there are lots of things that you need to be you need to consider when you deal with IoT data. But if you have a rounded background, well-rounded background with good data architecture mindset, and know what business you need to solve for the customer, the stakeholder, you can push and make an IoT project from the POC state to production peacefully, and people will be happy and give you a raise. So that is back to you. I'm ready for a question if anyone would like to ask.
Yeah, I think if people have questions, that is good. I would like to ask if people, what industry are they looking at, or what industry are they coming from? That would help set some context. So maybe you can tell us what industry you're focused on.
So, sure. I since our company is horizontal, people said, it's not possible, but it is. We work with construction company. We work with a company that make tires, and we work with customer that doing retail. And what's the other one? But practically the same platform we have, actually we are able to use it for multiple industry, and different kind of endpoints. You have different kind of data we can ingest to our platform.
And you came from an ERP background, right? Working for UPS in your past.
I didn't work for UPS in the past. I always worked for a large consulting firm right out of school for 4 years. And my boss thought I was crazy to started my own consulting firm when it was in the downturn 2002. And I told her, I want to learn. For me, it's not about money. Money will come. But when I have the chance to try to start my own company at that time, I was able to hire one of the best developers, at the hard time. And everyone that we hire are the one that really come from a good company. And we actually had a great team. My team, I had up to 25 developer only. My consulting firm didn't have any salespeople because people know what we can do. And so I didn't need any salespeople back then. Salespeople are needed when the company got bigger. But anyway, so my background has always been in enterprise application and system integration. I did the first remote scale system, like POC for Airborne Express. You don't even hear the name now.
Logistics.
Yeah, that was Airborne. And it was a scale that can scale the weight. A package from I plug in the serial port, and it's show up on a website I created for my team back then. But yeah, that was a long time ago. And RFID was warehouse integration. We have active RFID and passive RFIDs. Then many people actually, some business only need that much. So what you really need an active IoT devices, or you should need to see, okay, when your package in a warehouse go through the gate, that's what's in there. And it's very interesting when you have to solve the problem for businesses that the business owner is smart when they said, okay, all I care about is how much the package weight. I'm talking about chemical distributor right now, but I deal with lots of logistic as well. So you have to make sure that the truck has pre-protect or hazmat and whatever else. And it used to be paper, right? The company I work for, I was actually a couple of them, that was paperless a long time ago. And so we actually have all this data schema integration from all the logistic company way before, I guess, automated, and way before many company. I did the first Getty Images Amazon integration when Amazon just get started. They have a system back then that like BizTalk, you have message bus and orchestration to dynamically push data from one enterprise to the other. I mean, to me, many things that we hear today, if you want to get into IoT and you have a good, solid industry specific expertise, you have the edge, right? So you don't throw away what you have, but learn new technology. That's one thing. Is job security for me is not about whether or not I stay at a job. It's about how much I'm able to learn the new skills so that I bring value to the customer. That's why I'm actually stick with consulting, because you can't really fluff long. And my customer, actually, I'm with them 4.5 years, 7 years, just because the new technology I can bring in to the business and train their team. I always, train people from subject matter expert are the one you want to keep in a company. You bring in technologists to talk to the people and deliver something that applicable for your business. It's not a brand new team you want to bring into the company. So at least that from my experience.
So Richard is asking a question saying, if people don't have a coding experience specifically, are there entry points? And he wants to know basically how to break into the field. And his follow-up question is, do you just onboard customers one time, or is there like a support needed to manage the customers?
I think it's a very good question. So let's go back to what I mentioned earlier. Nowadays, coding is a lot easier than when I first started. I mean, I was only 6 girl in the computer science at University of Washington, and they only admitted 40. So computer science back then was, we have a shortage just because you have to write a lot of code to make something work. Now we have a lot of templates and IntelliSense wasn't there. You have so many libraries and so many languages that you can use. And the thing is, I would go back to what is your background? What is your strength? What industry you passionate about and want to work, stay working with that industry? For example, if you want to be in retail, right? Is your expertise related to product selection or something like that? You can jump in from the business analyst point of view. The coding, there are many good coder out there. The thing is, for me, when I'm looking for a coder, I'm looking for somebody with a good foundation. Because if you have a good computer science or data structure algorithm experience, they don't have to go to school, but they need to show that they know the foundation of practically computer science stuff. So they can pick up any languages. I'm not gonna test on somebody whether or not they know C or Python or Node.js. You can pick those up really fast, and there's so many training programs you can pick up. It's just that, do you know that you're supposed to clean up the garbage in your code block? Do you copy and paste? And I have seen so many bad code out there just because you get somebody get a piece of code from the web and then keep plug it in multiple places. You know what singleton means? So those clean code and the mindset make a difference whether or not you're a good fit to be in the developer mode or a business analyst or even a project manager. There's so many roles you can jump in. So learning and applying what you have, and then add IoT to the slide. If you want to start your own business, that's a different story, right? I had my first one when I was 19. My mom was my business partner. And then I started when I was 2002. And 4 years ago, I co-founded the company I'm working with now. That is a different mindset, right? So when you want to be an entrepreneur, do you want to serve consumer or you want to serve enterprises? Those two are totally different, right?
So I want to bring us back, because this whole conversation of career pivots is it's an amazing topic. So Richard says we'll talk more offline. And
sure, yeah, I can talk more with him. I think Richard ping me offline.
Okay. That would be actually a good thing if anybody wants to follow up with any of our speakers. They're all very receptive to guide you on that process. So with that, I think we should wrap up so we can keep track of time. This is going to be our stress. Every speaker we have to kind of say, okay, time is up. So I've happened to be the bad cop this time. So thank you so much, Roxy, and now we will switch to the next session. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.